metaphorically of this position. We have gained this power. We must use this power, he says, in a good way so that we can validate the death sacrifice of all of our brothers and sisters who have died over the years because of apartheid. That is a compelling argument. At the moment when many blacks were ready to go out and kill every white person they knew because they finally had gotten out from under the thumb of apartheid, here Mandela is saying we have to do this the right way to honor the memory of those who have lived and died. Then to finish, notice he says, we're humbled, he says, and elevated by the honor and privilege of being named the president. He recognized, however, it was never him, it was we. And then notice the repetition of the three we's on page 1204. We understand it's still that there is no easy road to freedom. No easy road. It's going to be hard work. We know it well that none of us acting alone can achieve success. And finally, we must therefore act together as a united people for national reconciliation, for national building, for the birth of a new world. Notice, he recognized that what was happening in South Africa was about more than South Africa. It was about the world. It was about the way that the world has to move towards greater tolerance, understanding. And then finally, notice the let's. Do you see the repetitions? Let there be justice, let there be peace, let there be work, bread, water, salt for all. Let each know that for each, and then he talks about the tripartite view of the human, the body, the mind, the soul, have been free to fulfill themselves. And then he says it, the repetition of the word never. Never, never, and then he says it one more time and was interrupted, right, through this line of applause. And never again shall it be that this beautiful land will again experience the oppression of one by another and suffer the indignity, and this was an interesting line, of being the skunk of the world. The skunk of the world. That is to say, the embarrassment of the world. The sun, he says, shall never set on so glorious a human achievement. And then let freedom reign. And this reminds us very much of Martin Luther King Jr.'s I Have a Dream speech. And then finally, God bless Africa. All right, let's jump quickly now to 2A and some possible messages or themes. Let's list at least three here for us. One, obviously, only we can build together. That unity message, that rainbow of peace, that notion, that rainbow nation, that idea, we're all in this together. One. Two, he emphasizes the importance of courage. It takes a lot of courage to be able to forgive those who have done terrible things to you and get on with the building of the nation. And finally, that's number three. It's not enough to have one political power, he says. It's now time for us to build something. Let's create a country together. There was tremendous hope. And of course the title of the speech is Glory and Hope. Tremendous hope in a speech like this. At 2B, what are the philosophical assumptions that here, again, are very, very contested even on the day it was given? Well, namely, of course, we all have to take care of each other. We all have to make sure that we show proper respect to each other. We may not fully like each other, but we have to agree to care for each other. Why? Because we're all South Africans. By extension, we're all humans. By extension, we are the world. We're representing all of the humans of the world. And to that degree, we're being watched, right? It's a powerful one. The other thing we might say at 2B is his use of symbolism. Let's put it in our notes right away. We make sure we've got that. His use of the tree. His referencing to the phoenix bird. His use, obviously, of the rainbow. It's as well compelling. And some will argue this is an interesting way to finish the speech. The skunk of the world? That idea of being a skunk is kind of the animal that we always equate with smelly. We don't like them around very much. That is to say, the embarrassment of the world. He could have said the embarrassment of the world, and instead he chose the animal, the skunk, which is a fascinating word picture, his use of word pictures. Let's jump to 3A. We've already mentioned several speeches. Martin Luther King Jr.'s I Have a Dream speech comes to mind. We can think about the famous Gettysburg Address speech. Think about, for you, your favorite text that tries to suggest we're all in this together. We got to take care of each other. What is your favorite song on a playlist that reminds you we all have to take care of each other? We all have to find ways to get along together. If you spend any time listening to music that has words and lyrics that say, There's the other and there is me. Nelson Mandela's speech says you have to learn to think differently, to live in a world that's so complicated and complex. We're all in this together, right? Of course, we've already mentioned Wordsworth's "My heart leaps up when I behold a rainbow in the sky," yes? Finally, it's a 3B question. What are your thoughts about this kind of hopeful message? You live in a world, of course, many years after 1994. What are your thoughts about the way we get along in this world? Do you think it's ever possible we can live in a world without prejudice, without gender bias, without sexual bias, without racial bias? Do you think that's possible? Can we find ways to live together? Can you find a way? Here's the personal question to 3B. Can you find a way to take Nelson Mandela's hopes and live them out in your own personal life? It's a compelling moment in the history of the world. I hope that you have been maybe a little bit more educated and that you're maybe a little bit more hope-filled as well. Thank you.